Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about adapting to max effort style training every day, or what a lot of people call Bulgarian style or Bulgarian light. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. And again, I want to clarify a point because a lot of people keep saying things like, oh, you're jumping on the bandwagon because of Bugenhagen. I want to remind guys, I did this style of training on camera and promoted it before he had a channel. I like Eric, I like what he does, but just reminding you guys, this is something I have done for a long time. I'm a big fan of this system. I've used it before to get my strength numbers up, and I'm probably, because of my life situation, going to stick it out as a long-term endeavor. Again, now that I'm in a situation to where I can do so, I may be running this for years. We'll see how it goes. But I thought I would kind of keep you guys up to speed with what's going on with it and what I've learned with some of this. And again, what people need to understand is that you do adapt to this style of training. One of the things that happens when you first start doing it, you get really, really sore the first week. Your strength fluctuates all over the place. And then you start hitting a bunch of PRs. And that's exactly what happened for me. The first 3 weeks or so after that, it's PRs almost every day. Then things kind of slow down, and then it undulates and you have an upward trend. Now, one of the things I noted, I had to start initially only squatting 5 days a week when I did this because I just couldn't handle more than that. And then when I've gone to 6 days a week, what I've noticed several weeks in a row, when I get to that 5th day, I can't squat. I cannot squat. In fact, I've gotten to, and I'm reminding you guys, I'm building back up to 500. It will happen this year. I've done it before on camera. I'm still below 500. I'm in the mid 4s right now on my squat. I've done pause work actually so far with 440 with actual pauses at the bottom. I just switched back over to doing a stretch reflex, and I'm building back up. And I've been doing a lot of front squats. I rotated front squats back out this week because I've been alternating them every other day, back-to-back squatting. So this is my first week to where, as a perfect example, I've hit my 5th day and could actually squat 5 days in a row. Because what had been happening, usually the 5th day, my strength goes away. Like, I've literally had weeks where I squat 430 or 440 paused on the 4th day squatting. And it feels strong, feels good, feels like I could have gone 10 pounds heavier. Then the 5th day comes and I can barely squat 225. I've had that happen a couple times, and then even last week, I could only squat 315 on the 5th day. Get to the 5th day, and your strength just tanks. It just tanks. And then what happens? Strength comes back up. Like what happened to me last week, I got up to 315, and I did a double, and that second rep was my max, which is ridiculous because I've squatted over 400 every single day before that, 4 days in a row. I usually set my daily minimum at 405, and I moved it up to 425. So what I try to do every day, no matter what, is to hit 425 every time I squat. And then we'll work it up from there. Eventually that'll go to 430, eventually it'll go to 440, eventually it'll go to 500, will be my daily minimum. And so that's going to take months. But the thing is, in rebuilding my squat doing this, it's taken a little bit of time, but it's okay. I'm up into the 400s now. And I've hit, I think as far as rep work, I've done 420 for a triple paused. So it's coming along nice. And like I said, I know I'll get to the 500. But what I've noticed this week was a little bit different. Now my pressing started regressing, and my squatting is just holding comfortable. I literally walked in every day this week and did my daily minimum. One day it felt heavy, like my second training day. The rest of them, it was really light. I should have gone heavier, but I'm just like, I just want to get back into this, see if I can just keep it at my daily minimum for this week and see what happens. And I got to the 5th day today. I was really sore today. I was scared I wasn't going to be able to squat because what happened last week, it was bad. I worked on a bunch of projects yesterday, building a bunch of stuff, working with a bunch of tools, making things, doing some construction stuff yesterday for about 2 hours, and I was sore from being all bent over and messing with stuff because I've been squatting every day. I was really sore when I walked in. I was scared I wasn't going to be able to squat till I started warming up. 225, 315, 365, they were all really light. 405 was really light. So I went ahead and did my 425, and I'm like, okay, that's weird. I'm not sore anymore. After 405, all my soreness went away. I did 425, and it was like a half-second rep, snapped right up. Still felt like a warm-up. But instead of ramping up, I'm like, I should go up another 20 pounds. I decided, you know what, I'm going to just take this as good luck. This is my 5th day in a row. I was actually able to squat. This is the first time I've been able to squat anything over 315 on the 5th day in a row. So I'm like, I'm going to call it quits at 425, and hopefully we'll see how it goes tomorrow, because I think I'm going to ease into start doing 7 days a week now, which I've done before. So I want to see how it does over the next day or two. It's just hitting my daily minimum and getting used to that, where that just feels easy every single day, and then we'll start working up from there again. But what's interesting, in the meantime, my pressing went down midweek. I've literally had 4 pressing days in a row to where I'm hitting 20 pounds less than I wanted to hit. 20 pounds less than I wanted to hit. I actually had to go under 300 on my close grip bench press one of these. I did 295 on a close grip one of my days this week. I did 295 on the floor press today. My overhead pressing, I haven't touched over 205 for the last couple of overhead press days. Instead of hitting 215, 225, anything more than that with a strict standing press, I've had to drop down to 205, and they've been really heavy. So I'm having one of those weeks where this week the pressing is hard. And that's what you have to get used to when you start dealing with daily training maxes. You will eventually adapt, and you will eventually settle into your daily minimums, and they will slowly creep up over the months once you get through your initial phase of PRs. But what happens, you will go through phases where, like I've done my 5th day squatting, every week I can't squat anything. And then I'm so sore that I can barely walk. Whereas in today, I was sore from the other stuff I did yesterday, but once I hit my 425 daily minimum squat, all of my soreness went away. On that 5th day in a row squatting, it made me unsore from the other stuff I did yesterday. And now the pressing is going to regress again, and then it'll undulate back up. And I'm about to start slipping into some 2-a-days because, again, I'm adapting to some of the workloads so we can slowly increase it over time. And that's what people need to understand. When you start talking about doing this sort of training, it sounds insane to a lot of people. But what they don't grasp is that your body will adapt to it. As long as you pay attention to your overall recovery, pay attention to your workloads, watch for the signs of overreaching. And what I'm doing with this, instead of when we're talking about starting to see signs of anything, doesn't mean that we back the training down. It means that we adjust lifestyle. In other words, try to get more carbs and more protein. Try to slip in an extra 30 minutes or extra hour of sleep. In other words, adjust your lifestyle with this style of training. If you're able to do that, it will let you continually, gradually increase the workloads. And one of the things that I noticed that helped is that just doing less reps on the warm-ups really made a big difference on my squatting. I quit doing as many triples because I was doing a lot of that, of doing 3-rep sets all the way up until I get to my peak set. And now that I realize, you know what, I can do doubles with 315. I can do singles and just go up. That it's not as fatiguing. I recover faster. That the weight feels lighter the next day for my heavy sets. Because at the end of the day, that's what you are doing. You're training for your maxes. You're training maxes. You want to get as many heavy sets in per week as you can of really heavy work. And the heavier the better. Because this, again, is high-frequency, max-effort training. But you do adapt to it over time, and eventually you will settle into a situation to where, yeah, you have to embrace the suck sometimes, and people call it that who do this style. You're going to have weeks where things are down, but eventually you will get to a point on this sort of training to where your lifetime maxes start to become daily minimums, to where you can literally 6 or 7 days a week lift what for you a certain number a year ago or 2 years ago would have been is 50 pounds heavier than your lifetime ever max that you hit in a meet, all of a sudden becomes a lift that you can do 7 days a week, 6 days a week on the same lift, eventually without it being that fatiguing to where you're fine. It doesn't bother you. you get to a point with it where eventually you don't even get sore, and eventually you'll get your gym PRs if they're going to be here or there, but your daily minimums will eventually exceed your previous lifetime maxes, and they'll actually just become easy for you to come in and do a couple warm-ups and hit your daily minimum. You know, and for some people, their daily minimum starts to end up being a 550 squat. And that's just the way these things go. But you need to understand that you will adapt to the workload over time as long as you pay attention to the other factors around the recovery, your sleep, your rest, your nutrition, your active recovery. You do adapt. And what ends up happening is a lot of people note, again, with this style of training, little nagging pains start to go away. Like a lot of that connective tissue and tendonitis and different issues that you have, particularly because you cut out all the extra rep work, all the extra higher rep accessory work and stuff just to focus on this training, all of that stuff starts to go away, and you start to get to where little nagging sorenesses you used to have actually start to reduce. And you're going to have ones that are going to be related only to your current training, but if you can pay attention to those areas of active recovery, the way you sleep, things like that, even that starts to fade over time. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.